All right, so what is happening with the Acolyte? That's what I want to talk about today, just for a few minutes. This isn't a deep dive into it. This isn't giving my opinions fully on the show yet. We're just going to talk about episode 7 of The Acolyte, which aired last night. I wanted to make this video then, but I was too tired. So before we get into it, hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment down below what you think of the show so far or where it's going to go. Love to hear from you. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on it. And before I do, I just want to let you guys know that it's a little rough trying to jump back into things given the light of things that have happened recently. If you haven't seen my last video, go check it out. It's non-Star Wars related. It's kind of depressing. You may not want to see it, so that's just a warning. Anyway, let's get into it. So we're just going to talk about episode 7 of The Acolyte, which just aired last night. And I have to say it's probably my least favorite episode so far. Now, let's just say that my opinion of it might be skewed a little bit because right before that I watched the episode of House of the Dragon, or House of Dragons, House of Dragon. Yeah, you know the show I'm talking about. Anyways, so I watched that first and then The Acolyte, and I was like, okay, where'd the budget go? That was my first thought. And I'm not going to be completely negative on this. I am going to give some positives about the show because there are a couple things I really liked about it, or this episode. I don't want to say the show in general because I'm saving my opinion for that once it wraps up next week. And I'll talk about it in a fuller length then. But in this episode, I thought, okay, 2/3 of this episode could have been cut out. We'd already seen all that stuff. It should have just stayed on the path of showing Soul's point of view and that of possibly Kelneka and Torben and Indara. Could have showed a little bit more of that. It still didn't answer the question as to how a lantern lit up the entire palace. Maybe there's another point of view we're missing. Maybe somebody else was involved in that. Come here. Maybe. I don't know. My predictions of this show have been mostly wrong anyway. I did say the Jedi had something to do with the death of these witches. It was partially correct and partially not. So, yeah, take it for what it is. But, yeah, I thought this episode was just a rehash of, episode 2 or 3 that we saw way back when. And a lot of it could have been gone. Also, I thought the acting was subpar on most parts of the show. Indara did pretty good, and Kelneka, that was pretty easy to nail that spot, but everybody else just seemed like they weren't really into it to me. That's just my thought on it, and I won't go into, how I felt about Vernestra when she showed up way back when. Thought she was wooden, to be completely honest. And I'm not falling to the dark side. I'm not hating on the show. I'm just saying that these are things that after watching House of Dragon, I was like, okay, they had almost the same budget, but this is what we got. Now, we've got better technology nowadays than we had back in 1982 or 83 when Return of the Jedi came out, yet we can't make the speeders look realistic. The speeder bikes look realistic now, but we could back then with a smaller budget back then than we have now. And to me, it just looked kind of corny and cheesy when they're pulling up on the speeder bikes. It just didn't sit well. I don't know. But like I said, this isn't an overall judgment of the show. It's just my thoughts and review of this episode. I just thought it could have been a little bit better. There were some good parts, like I said before, and one of those good parts is the witch turning into black smoke. But as cool as that was, then Soul goes and puts a lightsaber through her. She wasn't doing anything threatening. She looked like she was trying to retreat. And he puts a lightsaber through her, which seems uncharacteristic of a Jedi. A lot of uncharacteristic Jedi traits were in this episode, and it's kind of just reminding me why the Republic and the Jedi Order fell in the prequels. Because look at them. They're acting all sporadic and weird. I mean, Torben just wanted to go home. He didn't like it there. He kept complaining the whole time. I haven't seen anybody complain that much since Anakin or Luke. Oh no, he invoked the power of the Chosen One and his son. Yeah, get over it. They were whiny. Not that I didn't like them. They were just whiny. You gotta admit that. Yeah, or don't. Hate me for it. Whatever. But at the same time, I am liking that we're shown a different perspective of what the Force is, or how it relates to people who aren't brought up in the Jedi Temple, who aren't raised on one or the other faction, Sith or Jedi. And that's something we got to get away from, is this whole two-party system anyway. And I'm not talking about real world politics. No. I'm not doing that. I'm talking about just Sith or Jedi. Everybody's stuck on that ideology. You're either a Sith or you're a Jedi. Well, we've seen a lot of people who are not Sith or Jedi, and I do like that they mention the Night Sisters. So that means that the Jedi Order is aware of the Night Sisters even 132 years before A New Hope. And I also like that they did mention the Legacy run and the hyperspace disaster that happened in the High Republic novels in the beginning. That's a nice way of tying it into the rest of the High Republic stuff while still transferring power over to the prequels. And I don't think that this has taken away from anything that George Lucas has built. I think it's just building on it. Now, you can hate me for that statement too. I just don't see it. I don't see how these twins born are hurting Anakin in any way. Darth Sidious had to learn it from somewhere. Plagueis had to learn it from somewhere. It didn't just pop in their head, oh yeah, let's create life. You think we can do that? I don't know. No, probably not. They'd probably sit around playing video games after that because they didn't know how to do it. So, yeah, I think it was good that maybe not good that they brought this into the story, but it was a way of telling how Plagueis may have learned it. And then we move on to the twins, who are not actually twins, but they are actually the same person, just split into two bodies. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. And I kind of had some similar thought to that early on in the season, probably episode 1 or 2. I thought, what if they're just the same person? And I thought, nah, they wouldn't do that. But they did. They did. And it's kind of an interesting concept. So I want to see where this plays out. But we only have one episode left. So I don't know how much is going to get resolved in that time. So look for a season 2, guys. Even if you hate the show, look for season 2 to come out, because I have a feeling it's going to happen. And then we have the bit with Torben, what happened to him when Mother What's-Her-Name used her black magic on him and, kind of warped his mind. That was some crazy stuff, and she did it to Kalnaka, and that was crazy too. So I kind of like that. I thought that was done really well, and the cinematography in that was really good, and I thought the special effects in those parts were really nice. Why didn't they use it on the rest of the episode? Are they using all their budget on 1 or 2 scenes? Let's hope not. Let's hope things get a little bit better, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Episode 8 better be a smash, because, we've had one amazing episode and, 6 decent episodes or okay episodes, or even some maybe subpar in some people's minds. But I'm not going there yet because I want to see how this story plays out. And that's one other thing that I like about this show is the story, the actual story. It seems like it's all over the place, but it's not. It's going to converge at some point, and it's all going to make sense. We have to give the show time to breathe, time for it to tell the entire story before we go judging it, saying the story's convoluted, because we don't know yet. Yeah, I think I've been a little more negative on this one than I meant to be. Yeah, really, guys, I'm not trying to be that negative on this show. It's entertainment. It isn't real life. Real life is way harsher than this. And if you're basing your whole life and how you treat people on how a show is, then you might need to go talk to somebody about that. I think they make medication for it. I would never hate on somebody for disagreeing with my opinion. That's just silly. I respect everybody's opinions because we're all individuals. And real life is worse or better than a show. We sit here and talk about how this character dies, or we want to see that character die or something like that. But in real life, do we really want to see anybody die? No, we don't, because that's horrible. So in real life, why are you threatening people that don't agree with you? Why are you giving death threats or just being an asshole to people just because they don't agree with your opinion on a show? Think about that for a minute. It's a show meant for entertainment. Either be entertained by it or don't. And right now, I'm entertained by it. I'm not going triple watching the show or anything like that, but I watch it when it comes out just to see how the story plays out, and I'm interested to see where it's going. If you aren't, then okay, that's fine. I understand. You're allowed to have that opinion. But I'm going to shut up now until I keep rambling on. Leave a comment down below what you think so far, what you think is going to happen in The Acolyte, and if you think there will be a season 2 or possibly a season 3. I don't know. The next show to come out, I think, is Skeleton Crew, and I really can't wait for that one. Then we have Andor season 2, which I'm really excited about because as of right now, Andor has been my favorite of the Star Wars series to come out. And that sucks to say because Boba Fett has always been my favorite character, but Andor really showed what they could do with a budget. Anyways, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment down below. This is Gerald, the Star Wars Fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way.